Hello and welcome to the video. Thank you so much for being here today. And today we're going to talk about why data skills are going to be key for career growth in 2025, 2026, and going forward. So you don't need to be a data scientist, an AI engineer to make use of improving just like your value through using data and getting just some basic data skills. Data skills can transform your career, maybe even more than you may think. So for example, having good knowledge of data skills can help you get a promotion better, can lead to better job security, and can get you in the door for some higher paying roles. And how can they do all that? Well, let's talk about it. And companies are super duper hungry for data talent. So there was, I think, some poll from 2023 that said that 97% of companies are going to be trying to prioritize using their data better and leveraging their data better to help make their decisions. So, this is the day and age. Data is kind of the new oil. It's not like oil, but in the tech world, it kind of is. Data is really what fuels everything. It fuels businesses. And so if you can use that data just through some what may be basic data skills, it can kind of put you ahead of the track if you're able to make the most value out of the data that you have available to yourself. And clearly, and maybe not clearly, but at least through surveys, companies are saying that they're willing to pay for data talent. And companies are saying that they're going to use their data or try to use their data to improve their business. So if you can use data, if you know how to use data, how to get the most out of data, it can help you get ahead in a career. Whereas right now, right now, employment market is tough. Let's not beat around the bush here. It is tough right now to get a job. And so anything that can kind of get you ahead, maybe consider it. And data skills can definitely get you ahead. So overall, let's dive into why data is so important, and 2, how you can get started learning these skills. And then 3, we'll end with just some practical resources of what you can do for next steps. Overall, I'm gonna make this channel all about learning about data, learning about how to create a profession in data through getting better at different data skills, talking about how you can get a job as a data analyst, data scientist, ML engineer, all that stuff. I'm right now a director of data that have been for a couple of years now. I love it. I'm really interested in data tech education. So this whole channel is going to be about data tech education. If that sounds interesting to you, I would love it if you were able to give a quick subscribe and like to this video, because there is going to be a lot more content coming out about data. This is just the first video of hopefully hundreds in 2025. So let's dive right on in. So let's get started with the why. Why is data so important now? Well, on every single day, there is 2.5 quintillion bytes of data created. And let's break that down. What is a quintillion? So a quintillion is one with 16 zeros after it. It's this number. This is the number that gets created. That is absolutely absurd. It is let's do some quick math. So it's a million times a million times a million, or a billion billions, or a million trillions. That's all the same as 1 quintillion, that's so much more than any amount of money that's ever been created. And this is just the amount of data that is created daily. Every single day, all this brand new data is created. And so all this data is being created daily. There's a huge demand for it. There are not a million data scientists being produced every day. There's not a trillion data analysts being produced every day. Heck, there's not even a trillion people on the planet. It's 9 billion, something like that right now. And so, long story short, there is a ton of data being made every single day, and there's not a ton of humans that can accurately, make sense of data. There's a lot of them, but there's not billions of them. So you can get yourself ahead by learning some skills to handle some of this, a fraction of this quintillion bytes of data that are being produced daily. 2.5 quintillion actually bytes of data that are being produced daily, to kind of make you a little bit more competitive. And so all this data creates a super high demand for people who know how to leverage data and how to make insights out of data. And so if we have all this data being created daily, we don't have enough people to make sense of all this data. Yeah, there's a lot of people, but there's not enough. And we're only going forward in a data digital world. And so even with AI and ML coming around, people are still going to need to learn how to use AI. Like AI is not just gonna snap of a finger replace everybody. People will need to know and understand how to operate AI algorithms and how to use AI effectively to kind of make the most out of data. And there's just a gap from my perspective and also a whole bunch of other people's perspective in the market for people who know how to actually make sense of all of this data that is being created. Companies that use data tend to outperform companies that don't use data by 20%. So you can also just think of that as like, usually companies that use data are more profitable than companies that do not use their data. And that's why companies want to start using their data more. And so just to summarize, if we have all this data being created daily, and we have a limited amount of people who know how to use and make sense of that data, there is an opportunity there. There's demand for people who know how to use data, and there's a lack of supply for people who actually can make sense of data. And hopefully, the goal of this channel is to kind of close that gap, teach more people how to be successful in using data and data skills to benefit themselves. I really have no ulterior motive here. I just love data education and talking about data, and I think it'd be great if folks were able to get a little bit more, were able to better themselves by learning some kind of basic data skills to begin with to make you a little bit more valuable when you're looking for a job, or even make yourself a little bit more valuable at your own job. And so when we think about data professions, it's like there's kind of 3 or 4 that stand out. So you got your data analysts. Data analysts are the ones that extract insights from data sets to support and help make data-driven decisions. This could be through ad hoc analyses, analyzing data in an Excel spreadsheet, or ad hoc queries from looking at data in a database. This is kind of what data analysts do. Then you have data engineers. Data engineers basically collect and build pipelines, collect data, and they build pipelines to extract information from data. And what do I mean by that? So oftentimes, all that 2.5 quintillion bytes of data that are created daily are kind of messy. And at first glance, they make 0 sense because that data has not been cleaned or structured. And basically the job of a data engineer is to start with that raw data, create a pipeline to kind of make that raw data. It could be from whatever data source. It could be literally your raw data could just be from like Sally writing notes in a ledger. And the data engineer could be like, okay, hey, let's take Sally's notes, start her entering that in the G Sheet, and then we'll build a pipeline to collect that data from the G Sheet through like an S3 bucket and we'll dump that into Snowflake or a database. And they build these pipelines, these robust pipelines, to one, bring data from your external systems or other systems into your one main database, and then 2, clean that data so that data analysts can make insights out of it, or data scientists, the third one, can use that data to feed AI algorithms or make machine learning models from clean data. So data engineers often get overlooked, but they're super important. They're basically the plumbers. They run the plumbing system for all your data. And think of it as a house. If your plumbing system's broken, you're not going to have water coming through the kitchen sink. And water in this case is the data. And you need, in any given house, you need that water to run smoothly and all the time. And that's the job of a data engineer, is to build these pipelines, build those pipes in the house to make that water in this case is data, flow smoothly and accurately every single day, and cleanly too. You don't want dirty brown water. You want clean, pure water that you can drink, work with. These are 2 data scientists. This is the more advanced data stuff. So data scientists use machine learning algorithms and advanced kind of coding data techniques to solve hard data problems. Hard data problems could be like predictive analysis of inventory systems. It could be forecasting sales. It could be recommendation systems. All the stuff that is kind of like trickier to do and outside the skill set of a data analyst. Usually data scientists, that's where they come in with basically just code. And all of this at the end of the day is just code and math, probability, and code to make recommendations or solve answers to kind of hard data questions. So yeah. And then the fourth one that you could mention is kind of often falls under the role of data analysts, but it's kind of like a BI tool or a business intelligence analyst. And a lot of what these guys do are they make dashboards, make nice, easy to use dashboards from the clean data that the data engineers make to make either really good reports that other people in the company can use to understand how things are going. They can make dashboards for people in marketing to track how sales are going. They make dashboards and systems like Power BI, Sigma, Looker, Tableau to kind of serve really kind of pretty visuals that portray easily to understand information to end users. Now, getting a career in data, this is the other thing too. It is nowadays, it can be lucrative. It's not always lucrative, but it can be lucrative. If you're good at what you do, you can definitely make a lot of money doing this, but you have to like it too. Like if you don't like what you're doing, you're not going to be successful in it. And then at the end of the day, you're going to be chasing dollars for something that may not even be worth it. But say you're interested in pursuing a career in data. Realistically, you can expect somewhere between 75K to 150K eventually. This may not be your first job. It may not be your second job, but eventually you can expect some really good earnings in data and these numbers are coming from the US market, which can definitely be different if you're looking at Europe or Asia or India. It really depends where you are geographically. But in the US, you can make very good money with a career in data. Now, you don't even need to pursue a career in data to make use of these data skills. Like you could literally just be somebody in marketing who wants to understand your data better. You want to become more valuable to the company because you could see like, oh, there may be layoffs coming. How can I kind of put myself ahead to potentially avoid a layoff? And picking up some data skills can be super valuable to kind of differentiating yourself from the group and making yourself not even seem, but be more valuable. All that to say that you don't need to be a data analyst, a data engineer, or a data scientist to learn some basic data skills and make yourself better or more valuable. And really, like think about it. Data is in everything. Data is in every industry. It's in healthcare. It is in finance. It is in tech, software engineering. It is in e-com. Everything has data nowadays. With things going online, every click of a button that you make online, that at the very minimum can be hundreds of data points, or at least one data point that is often logged and stored. And really, whatever industry you're in now, you can use data to help get yourself ahead of the crowd. And at least in my opinion, now is the best time to learn data skills. Now is the best time ever to learn data skills. And let's talk about why. Now is so important because we have all this AI talk going around. And really what AI is at the end of the day is it's algorithms built on top of data being fed into these algorithms. So if you can understand even just kind of basic techniques in data and understand data, you can get ahead just by knowing that all this AI stuff is really just like advanced math applied to your data that you have. And that goes the same for like automation and machine learning. These are two other kind of like hot words right now, trending words right now that are going out and about. And both of those, like machine learning, just literally algorithms built upon data, and automation. It's basically automating processes from data. And so at the end of the day, all these hot words, AI, machine learning, and automation are really just different ways of making the most out of data. And so if you can know data, you can get ahead that way. Not to mention, like data literacy is really kind of becoming important in all jobs. Like for example, let's say that you're running Facebook ads. You need to be able to successfully use the data that you get from your Facebook ads to analyze what campaigns are working and what campaigns are not. And then second, like it could be like, say you're a team manager. You need to know some basic data points of like the people you're managing to understand, hey, this is working for this person and this is not working for that person. That data could be coming from like an HR software or something like that. But really like we're getting to this point in history where data and having like some basic level of data understanding, data literacy, is becoming important pretty much in all jobs. And one kind of way I like to think about it is that learning data skills today is kind of like learning Excel back in the early 2000s. Excel, came out, I forget exactly when, like late 90s, early 2000s. And at first, not a lot of people knew it or even knew how to use it. And now, like if you're working, you probably use Excel all the time. Like at least I do. And even people who are not in data roles in companies I know use Excel or CSVs all the time. And so, hey, I think that today is like learning Excel in the early 2000s. If you can learn to write a simple SQL script or a simple Python script it can kind of really separate you and get you ahead like it was back in the early 2000s if you learned how to write Excel functions. Like it's kind of similar, and in my opinion, even more important now to know how to use some basic data skills to make whatever task you're doing easier to do, or set yourself apart from other people in your group or your company. And in fact, in my view, even more so today, because data tools, like AI is not going away. AI is kind of going to be here to stay. And so if you can get like a basic grasp of some of the understandings of how AI is working, you can really get ahead. And so how can you actually get ahead? Like, let's talk about it. So we were just talking about Excel. Hey, if you've never worked with data before, a great way to start is just doing some Excel functions in a workbook like this. And then I'd say after you get Excel done, learn some basic SQL. And then once you get some basic SQL, take a free visualization tool. You can I think Tableau is a free one that you can use, and make some, practice making some dashboards in Tableau. In my view, like that is step one that you can start like right now to get rolling. And then once you have a basic grasp on Excel, SQL, basic data visualization, you can get a little bit more complex by going into Python or JavaScript, but I'd recommend Python. Common ones are like Python R for data tools, JavaScript too to a degree, but really Python. And then after you get down Python, you could get down to like Power BI or Tableau, and then making kind of like self-service dashboards that have filters and date ranges that can be really useful tools to help you and other people understand the data that you're trying to work with. And then really, like, how do you get started learning these skills? You can learn all this stuff on YouTube. So a great place to get data sets is from Kaggle. Kaggle is a free place that you can use to start getting data sets. And then YouTube, you can learn the basics of Excel, SQL, and Python, and using the Kaggle data sets to kind of make your own analyses or your own work with that free data. Of course, there's also a lot of paid stuff too, like Coursera has a bunch of paid tools, Codecademy has a bunch of stuff, Udemy and LinkedIn Learning. But really, if you're really just getting started, I would start by Googling how to start with SQL in YouTube, how to get started in Excel on YouTube, and like taking some of these free YouTube classes, working with free data sets available on Kaggle, and kick off your learnings there, because all that stuff is free. That's the amazing thing about YouTube. You can learn almost anything that you want for free in like a guided tutorial. It's amazing. And now all of this stuff that I just mentioned, this is going to be coming to the channel. So if you're interested in, learning more about data, learning more about Excel, SQL, Python, data visualization, subscribe to the channel, because I'd love to have you along for the ride, as I'm pretty much starting from scratch, starting from nothing, starting from a free, bare bones YouTube channel. I have another little travel YouTube channel that I do for fun, but that's completely different than data. But check that out if you want to. It's called Mike Likes to Travel. I love traveling, but that's besides the point. If you're interested in data and wanting to learn more about data, subscribe to the channel, because there is going to be a ton of stuff coming about SQL tutorials, Excel tutorials, Python tutorials, even like Snowflake and database tutorials, and overall tutorials on how you can use real-world skills, how you can use these real-world tools that are used in businesses every single day to learn how to become a professional in data. You don't need to want to become a professional in data. It can even be about just like getting better at whatever job you have now by leveraging data tools. Like you could write a Python script to automate some daily tasks that you have every single day. So yeah, that's all that's coming on this channel, and a lot more too. Like I made a quick little top 10 data skills to learn guide. It's gonna be in the link below. You can feel free to start with that and download that to kind of read up on like what are the top skills and tools that you can learn for free on YouTube to get better in data. And yeah, I'm really excited to build this channel. Now is the best time in the history of ever, in my opinion, to start learning data, and start learning data skills. And I'm really excited to kind of get going, building some tutorials, really teaching and showing through trial and error, how you can go from pretty much knowing nothing about data to becoming a full-fledged data expert. So if that sounds interesting to you, subscribe to the channel, and thank you. I know this video didn't have a ton of substance in it, but this is just the first part of what hopefully will be a very, very exciting beginning that teaches about all things data and how you can benefit yourself, improve your career, and hopefully have some fun in the process by learning data tools and getting better at data skills to make yourself overall better and improve your career outlook. So hey, I hope you liked the video, and I will see you in the next one.